The other day I put up some videos about the chaos and the violence in Amsterdam. I put up two videos and they produced extraordinarily tribal responses. One was about the Israeli supporting the people supporting the Israeli team, the Maccabi Tel Aviv team, who were caught on TV chanting the most appalling slogans, who were caught on TV chanting things during the minute's silence for the Spanish flood victims, who were caught on TV again with these racist chants and being deeply provocative. This is hooliganism. Then there were reports of a backlash, and there were reports of people on motorbikes, scouring the streets of Amsterdam for people who were Jewish, and that is clearly an anti-Semitic pogrom. There's no other explanation for it. That's the sort of thing that was first, in the modern age, first evidenced in mostly Ukraine by the authorities under Alexander III, the Tsar Alexander III, where the Tsar was scapegoating the Jewish population for the murder of Alexander II. And this went on for some years, and it led to the move of Jewish communities from the ghettos in Western Russia and Ukraine throughout Europe and into Britain and America. The pogrom. And then there have also been videos circulating about the violence, the torching of trains and trams, the throwing of fireworks, which has pretty well followed consistently, building up, and the stories about anti-Semitic attacks in Berlin and in other countries across Europe. The problem is this has sparked a series of riots and a series of attacks. Now, people are still being extraordinarily tribal. And if you look at Owen Jones's contributions, which are always very interesting, he only shows you the footage of the Maccabi hooligans in the football stadium and going to the football stadium. If you look at Maya Tusi's footage, he only shows you the footage of the trains being torched and the trams being torched and the fireworks being thrown. And it's quite extraordinary looking at these two sources in particular, looking at other sources. There's nobody who is putting all this together. And I refuse to countenance the view that the Maccabi Israeli supporters who behaved appallingly brought this anti-Semitic pogrom on themselves. The two things are separate. They are both appalling. And the fact that that pogrom, that anti-Semitic rioting has continued and has gone beyond simply targeting Jews to targeting almost anybody and anything to do with authority is symptomatic of this violence. You let the genie out of the bottle. Do I think that the Israeli Maccabi supporters should be going around Europe and supporting their team? Absolutely not. Do I think the team should be going around and playing in a European series of football matches? Absolutely not. It was only a few days after President Putin invaded Ukraine that the international games scheduled for Russian teams were stopped. And the same thing should have happened with Israeli teams, and I'm sorry about that. And I equally think there's a question mark about whether or not Israeli should have participated in the Eurovision Song Contest. And indeed even the Olympics. It is inappropriate to have one attitude to one country that invades another, and to another country that may not necessarily have invaded a country, because it's legal. It's very different. It's a very different issue. The siege of Gaza. But Israel has invaded Lebanon. And yes, there may be the issue of self-defense, and that is laudable. But Israel has gone beyond self-defense, and that is not laudable. And Israel's excuse, Netanyahu's excuse, is the rescue of the hostages, and that has not happened. He has another aim, which is the destruction of Hamas. It seems his aim is also the destruction of Gaza. And what I find so worrying is the adverts for settler communities to move into open spaces currently that are part of Gaza. That would be abhorrent, and it must be resisted by the international community. Israel must not be given carte blanche to behave badly, simply because its government is foul. Yes, Israel must be supported, and Israel was founded under a United Nations Charter in 1948, and it is a good and healthy democracy. But democracies can be run by thugs, and this one is. And until those thugs are defeated in the ballot box, Israel is being ruled by dangerous people. And we should not be supporting them in the same way as we don't support Putin. Should we be talking to them? Absolutely. Should we be talking to Putin and people in the Kremlin? Absolutely. Should we be supplying them with weapons? No. So I find this polarized tribalism very strange. It's as if we don't seem to be able to have a rational conversation, and the information is utterly and completely biased. The information which is being put out is selected to support one particular argument, and the information which supports the other argument is simply ignored. I find that fallacious and dishonest, and I'm slightly surprised at both Maya and Owen. I like them both, and I am a little disappointed. And I would certainly take it up with both of them. But I understand why they're doing it and why they're appealing to their base. But we have to stop this sort of nonsense. We have to stop this tribalism, because this only perpetuates the problem. We have to start seeing the violence in terms of what it is. It is fundamentally a bad thing, whoever is responsible for it. And it's, in addition, of course, there's the footage which was misidentified. There was the footage which has been re-edited. And all of this, I think, is to pander to this tribal base. I don't understand where this instinct to ignore proper journalism and to feed people what they want to hear is coming from. I think it's important to establish there are two groups here that are active. One is the Maccabi supporting, Tel Aviv supporting football hooligans who have a reputation for right-wing activism and really quite appalling racist shouting, and the tearing down of flags is unacceptable. And the other is the studied and deliberate violence attacking Jewish people in their homes, the violence attacking the authorities in the cities, which is spreading. And I think it's perfectly possible to recognize both as culpable and to hold both responsible and to condemn both.